You've probably all heard of the importance of getting a good night's sleep. That's because it's largely understood to be vital for our survival and can affect many areas of the body if taken away or diminished. I'm sure we can all relate to a late night with friends or staying up all night trying to study for an exam the next day. Whether it's a one-time thing or a continual occurrence, there are consequences for something called sleep deprivation. Today I will be talking about how sleep deprivation affects the body and the mind. Before we begin, I want to define what sleep deprivation is. According to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, sleep deprivation is when an individual fails to get enough sleep in a night. Now, this varies from different individuals, but most adults need about 8 hours of sleep. I'm sure all of you have experienced some form of sleep deprivation and the consequences of it. For example, have you ever gotten no or little sleep and you woke up and you were just hungry all day, or the food that you were craving wasn't good for you? So, in my first main point, I will be discussing why that is the case. I will be discussing how sleep deprivation affects the body first, and it has done this through ghrelin and leptin. According to Gale et al., ghrelin is the hormone that is released when you are hungry, and it tells you to eat more. Leptin is released when you begin to eat and you become full, and it tells you to stop eating. Teheri et al. Found that in sleep-deprived individuals, there was a decreased level in leptin levels and an increase in ghrelin levels. This was also found in a study by Spiegel et al. Seen in this chart right here, in sleep-deprived individuals, there was a decrease in leptin by 18%, an increase in ghrelin by 28%, and this consequently led individuals to have an increased global appetite of 23%. This also led for an appetite for high carbohydrate foods by 32%, which are the foods I talked about before that you would probably crave, but you probably shouldn't have. This matters because it can lead to weight gain. We've all heard of the tales and the ever-present threat of the freshman 15, where you are known to gain 15 pounds within your first year of being on campus. In a meta-analysis by McGee et al., which is a paper that studies many different studies on one topic to come to a conclusion, found a significant relationship between chronic sleep deprivation and increased BMI or body mass index in 8 different studies. This means that the freshman 15 could become a reality in college students when sleep deprived. My second main point has to do how sleep deprivation affects the mind. So, sleep deprivation can affect cognitive performance, or how well you perform on any given test. For this, I chose a study by Pilcher and Walters that was particularly relevant because they studied 44 college students. The reason they chose to study college students is because they were interested in the idea that college students voluntarily deprive themselves of sleep because they're studying or partying. So what they did is they split students up into 2 groups, a sleep-deprived group where the students did not get sleep for 24 hours, and a group that got 8 hours of sleep. Then, the next day, they were given a test. The sleep-deprived group performed worse on the test than the 8-hour group, but reported higher levels of effort and higher levels of perceived performance. This means that the group that was in the sleep-deprived, the students that were in the sleep-deprived group thought they did better because they incorrectly translated their increased effort to better performance, when in reality, they needed to overcome the sleep deprivation by putting in more effort, and that still didn't get them up to par to the students that got 8 hours of sleep and still performed worse than those students. So, what I've talked about today is only 2 factors of how sleep deprivation can affect your mind and body. There's plenty of other research on different ways sleep deprivation can affect those things. Today I informed you about the relationship between ghrelin and leptin, how it affects your appetite, and then consequently possible weight gain. And then I informed you about the relationship between sleep deprivation and cognitive performance. Sleep is a key part to living a healthy lifestyle. Just like eating right and exercising, you need sleep in order to feel good during the day. Thank you.